Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I want you to picture something for a moment. You've stopped pursuing her, you've drawn your energy inward, and suddenly she begins to act differently. There's a heaviness in the air. You can sense it. It's that change. The instant she understands she's losing you, her words shift, her voice softens, and for the first time, you notice hesitation in her eyes. That's the moment her psychology transforms. And today, I'm going to help you understand exactly what's unfolding inside her mind. But before we go further, hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. It helps more men finally grasp the truth they were never supposed to discover. You see, women don't lose men in one dramatic moment. They lose them gradually, in the quiet, in the distance, in the disappearance of your old energy. When a man emotionally steps back, it doesn't register straight away. She tells herself, "You're simply occupied." She convinces herself she still has the upper hand. But then something understated happens. Your validation stops nourishing her ego, and that's when anxiety quietly takes root. At first, she won't reveal it. She'll appear cooler, as though she's unbothered, almost withdrawn. But this is a front. In female psychology, emotional withdrawal is often a protective response. It's a way of shielding herself from the truth that she no longer commands your attention. She'll push your boundaries, perhaps with a cutting remark, perhaps by posting something online she knows you'll come across. But beneath all of it, there's fear. Fear that she's no longer the woman who occupies the center of your thoughts. That fear begins to erode her confidence. Every unanswered message becomes a doubt. Has he moved forward? Is he with someone new? Has he stopped caring? Women are remarkably perceptive when emotional distance surfaces. They feel it in your tone, your timing, even in your stillness. When she senses she's lost you, it doesn't merely wound her pride, it rattles her sense of self-worth. And here's the truth. When a woman recognizes she's lost a man who was emotionally devoted, it doesn't just stir sadness, it stirs regret. Because somewhere deep within, she begins recalling every moment you were there, the times she brushed you aside, the energy she never appreciated. That's when the real unraveling begins. When she knows she's lost you, she starts revisiting every memory, not out of longing, but out of disbelief. Her mind is attempting to rewrite the past, to understand how she went from being cherished to being overlooked. You'll observe quiet changes. She begins referencing old shared jokes. She laughs a touch more brightly when you're nearby. She might even send you something that reads as harmless but carries a hidden weight, a question she's too proud to voice directly. Do you still think about me? On the surface, it looks like nostalgia. But what's truly happening is emotional recalibration. Her mind is working to restore the emotional connection that once made her feel grounded in your presence. When that bond is severed, a woman doesn't simply miss you. She misses the version of herself that existed when she held your attention. That's the psychological pull. She doesn't just lose you, she loses the identity she constructed through your affirmation. That's why you'll observe a bewildering blend of emotions from her: coldness one day, tenderness the next. It's not manipulation, it's disorientation. She's searching for stability in a dynamic that's no longer familiar. You were once her emotional foundation, and now without that grounding, her pride and her heart begin to conflict. Her ego declares, "Don't reach out, hold firm." Her heart murmurs, "But what if it's already too late?" You might assume she's moved on because she's sharing cheerful photos or projecting confidence. But here's the reality. When a woman is genuinely at peace, she doesn't perform for an audience. She retreats into stillness. When she's still aching, she performs for your eyes. She wants you to witness her shine, not because she's healed, but because she hopes you'll question whether you made the wrong choice. And that's one of the most ingrained female defense patterns: the art of looking untouched while burning quietly inside. It's pride blended with pain, wrapped in silence. But underneath it all, she's observing, watching whether you notice, watching whether you'll respond, watching whether you still care. Because when she knows she's lost you, her deepest fear isn't that you'll erase her from memory. It's that you'll grow into the man she always needed after she's no longer woven into your journey. That realization strikes deeper than heartbreak. It strikes at identity itself. Here's what most men never grasp. When she knows she's lost you, she begins questioning herself in ways she never anticipated. The same woman who once appeared self assured, solid, even mildly dismissive, suddenly finds herself haunted by quiet waves of uncertainty. She asks herself things like: was I too distant? Did I drive him away? Why did I assume he would always be there? These thoughts don't arrive immediately. They accumulate slowly in the silence you left behind. That silence carries weight. It's not merely the absence of words, it's the absence of reassurance. In relationships, men frequently underestimate how much their steadiness matters. When you stop reaching out, stop explaining, stop reacting, she's compelled to face a mirror she's been avoiding. And what she discovers in that reflection is accountability. Women are profoundly emotional beings, but they are equally analytical. Once the emotional turbulence settles, her mind begins connecting threads she previously dismissed. She replays your disagreements through new eyes. The things you said that she once ignored suddenly carry meaning. That's when it lands. Not just that she's lost you, but that she played a role in it. That awareness is a burden. Because for many women, losing a man's emotional investment feels like losing evidence of their own value. You'll detect it in understated ways. She'll begin asking shared friends about you, framing it as casual curiosity. She might quietly engage with an old post or respond to something minor, anything to crack open a line of connection without exposing her vulnerability. But beneath that surface behavior lies one truth. She wants to feel that you still care, even if she isn't ready to admit that she does. And here's where the psychology descends further. Once a woman recognizes she's lost emotional influence over a man, her subconscious begins longing for what she once dismissed: your steadiness, your composure, your attention. Ironic, isn't it? The very energy she once took for granted becomes the one thing she quietly pursues. But here's the distinction: she won't pursue you openly. She'll pursue the feeling of being wanted by you again. That's why emotional withdrawal from your side is so quietly powerful. It isn't punishment, it's reflection. It compels her to experience the emotional contrast from being the center of your universe to standing on the outside looking in. And that emotional space, that's where transformation or regret begins to take root. When she knows she's lost you, something remarkable stirs beneath her surface. Her emotional walls begin to fracture. The woman who once seemed untouchable starts feeling everything more deeply. Every memory, every small moment, every time you showed up and she failed to notice. It all comes flooding back, but now it carries the weight of hindsight. She doesn't let anyone see it, of course. Outwardly, she still carries herself as though she's perfectly fine. But inside, she's weathering an invisible storm. And that storm isn't simply sadness, it's an ego in collapse. Because for most women, losing emotional power over a man they once held sway over feels like losing a piece of who they are. You were the mirror that reflected her significance. And when that reflection vanishes, she's left staring into uncertainty. Her confidence begins to waver, not because of you directly, but because of how she treated the parts of you that were loyal, patient, and deeply genuine. This is the stage where you'll observe contradiction in her behavior. She might begin reaching out under small pretenses, asking about something insignificant, sending a message late into the evening, or even manufacturing a chance encounter. But pay close attention. Those aren't coincidences, they're emotional signals. It's her way of testing whether the door is still open without admitting she's been standing outside, hoping you'll welcome her back. And if you remain steady, not distant, just grounded, that's when the full weight of her awareness lands. She'll begin measuring every man who comes after you. No one will carry the same depth of connection she once felt in your full presence, because emotional safety is something the mind becomes dependent on. When a woman has experienced the presence of a man who truly sees her, every surface level interaction that follows feels hollow. She may even try to recreate you, seeking someone who resembles you, speaks like you, moves through the world like you, but it never holds. Because what she truly misses isn't your appearance or your voice, it's the sensation of being emotionally anchored in your energy. And that's what makes your absence more profound than your presence ever was. You see, women rarely acknowledge when they've lost a good man. Not to the people around them, not even to themselves. But you'll know. You'll see it in the way she lingers just a moment longer than necessary, in the messages that sound like closure but read as confession. That's her quiet apology. Not delivered in words, but carried in regret. When she knows she's lost you, she begins to grasp something she never paused to consider before: the difference between a man's attention and a man's presence. Attention is abundant, it's everywhere. But presence, your presence, that was uncommon. And now that it's gone, she begins to understand just how powerful it truly was. Because when a man of emotional depth, purpose, and composure finally steps away, he doesn't just leave a void in her life, he leaves a silence her mind cannot fill. She might still tell the people around her that she's doing well. She might even perform relief. But inwardly, she's holding every moment of her new reality up against what she had with you. The truth is, women retain the emotional experience a man creates in them. They remember how you made them feel protected, seen, desired, understood. When that disappears, no amount of online validation, no rebound, no distraction can truly replace it. That's why so many women return months later, not because they miss the relationship itself, but because they miss who they became when they were beside you. But here's where men often stumble. When she reaches back out, they mistake regret for readiness. Understand this clearly. Her missing you doesn't always signal that she's prepared to love you well. Sometimes it's guilt. Sometimes it's a reach for control. And sometimes it's genuine grief. But even then, it is not your responsibility to heal her awakening. Your responsibility is to guard the man you've grown into since she let you go. Because your detachment didn't only reveal to her what life looks like without you, it revealed to you who you are when you stop pouring yourself into the wrong person. That strength is what she senses now. It's what makes her unsettled. A man who no longer requires outside validation radiates something that cannot be manufactured: emotional certainty. That's what draws her back, even when she claimed she was finished. So, when she begins showing signs of regret, resist the urge to fill the quiet. Don't pursue her again. Allow her to sit with the weight of what she built. Because that space, that emotional distance, is where truth lives. It's where she finally comes to understand that your absence isn't a punishment, it's the natural outcome of taking something real for granted. And nothing unsettles a woman more deeply than realizing that the man she assumed would always remain finally chose to walk away. When she knows she's lost you, the story realigns, not in your favor or hers, but in favor of truth. This is the phase where her mind ceases fighting the loss and begins to truly feel it. The performance fades, the confident posts taper off, the smiles appear strained. And at night, when the world goes still, she begins to sit with the echoes of what she once had. That's when the memories arrive with the most force. Not the grand ones, but the quiet ones. The sound of your voice, the way your eyes found hers when you were completely present, the calm she felt simply existing in your silence. That's the kind of loss no one witnesses from the outside, but she carries it in her bones. You see, there arrives a moment in every woman's life when she recognizes that genuine masculine energy, the kind that is steady, grounded, and emotionally certain, is not something easily found. It's cultivated, it's rare, and once lost, it cannot be replaced. That's why when she knows she's lost you, her heart doesn't merely miss you, it mourns the version of herself that felt most fully alive in your company. Because whether she'll ever say it aloud or not, you brought something authentic out of her. And now, without that reflection, she confronts the parts of herself she abandoned when she chose to test, control, or push you beyond your limits. But this story no longer belongs entirely to her. It belongs to you, to the man you became through the stillness, through the withdrawal, through the understanding that your value was never meant to be proven to anyone, only recognized by those worthy of it. Her loss became your foundation. Her uncertainty became your direction. And that's the transformation that shifts everything. Because the most profound form of detachment isn't rooted in indifference, it's rooted in caring deeply while refusing to betray who you are in the process. So if she finds her way back, listen with open ears, but don't surrender yourself again. You've grown beyond the version of you she once knew, and now your peace stands as the clearest evidence of that growth. The man who no longer feels the need to chase is the man every woman ultimately comes to respect. If this message reached something real in you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe, not simply to stay connected, but to keep this truth close.